Welcome back, chess fans. In this video, we're going to analyze a variation of the 4-knight Scotch, namely the move 95. And our inspiration, Danya Naroditsky. Let's check an old video of his first.
Okay, I think I'm in the mood for another Belgrade Gambit. Let's go for it and see how it holds up at a relatively high level. Let's go knight c3. Now, so far, we've played the 4-knight Scotch, and we've played the Vienna. Of course, you cannot play the Vienna if you play 2-knight f3, black plays e5. So that is the one downside, is the Vienna has been eliminated. Let's see how the Belgrade Gambit fares at this level. Let's go d4. Probably black is going to take. Now, we have also faced the move bishop d4, which is kind of an old move, And I will not remember how to play against it. I remember bishop b4, we played d5, which is apparently wrong. So if he plays bishop b4, we will try to recollect the theory. I think bishop b4, knight takes e5 was the line. Okay, ed4, and of course the Belgrade Gambit, which is knight d5, which we've already played once. So I'll insert the link. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll put the link to our previous Belgrade Gambit game. In that game...
Alright, in the video, Danya plays the main move of the Scotch, d4. And after take, he plays the Belgrade Gambit. But more recently in this position, Danya has been playing online and he won a very nice game with the move 95, which we're going to analyze here. But now wait a minute, before we go into this line, let me just show the main theory here. If you look in this position, you can play g3, there's a lot of games like that. You should not play bishop c4 because knight e4 takes and d5, and it's not so good for white. Now on d4, the main move, typically white take, the theory is knight d4, bishop b4 is the main move, we take once, we develop our bishop, here black counters d5, we take, castle, castle, c takes d5. This is the main theory of the Scotch. Now, how many games have been played in this position? I will display on the right. So many games played here at the high level. And there are two moves which are played and you need to analyze if you have to play that variation. One is bishop g5. As you can see on the right, it's been played by Magnus Carlsen. A lot of theory. The second move that you can play here is h3. Once again, so many games, right? And you have to analyze that. Let's say c6, queen f3, rook e8, and you need to analyze many moves here and study the theory. Therefore, in this video, we're cutting that short and instead of playing anything like g3 or d4, the main move, we are going with knight d5. And now, let me show you what are the three main ideas over here. We're going to see three games, and in the first two, bishop c5 is the answer. And in game number 3, knight takes e4 is chosen by black. All these games played by Danya Naroditsky, and in the first one, I have a thread. The player with black is no one else than GM Nepomniachtchi, the former challenger for Carlsen and Dinglieren. Yes, GM Nepomniachtchi, and that was played August 8. So a few days ago, and I watched this game online. It was absolutely a delight. So here, 95, first of all, I'm going to put on the right, not too many games played. If you look there, under 300 games. And you can see that bishop c5 is a very common answer. So we're going to analyze this game first. But also, you should be aware in game 3 that knight takes e4 directly, it's possible. But bishop c5 here, and here very important, if you play knight takes f6, black recaptures, you don't have any advantage. So the only way to play for an advantage here is to play the move c3. So that if black were to go to knight g4, you go with g4. Alright? So in this position, in the very first game, GM Nepomniachtchi plays subtly. He doesn't want to take the pawn on e4. He doesn't want any tricks. He plays castle. Now Danya protects e4, d3 logical, and here, of course, is threatening bishop g5. So, Nepomniachtchi with the black pieces play h6. This is a blitz game, just to be clear, 3 minutes per player. Over here, Danya take, and Danya play very quickly. GM Daniel Naroditsky, he has studied these positions, and he has a secret idea here. And the idea is g4. Amazing. This is also the best move recommended by the computer if you let Stockfish 17 work here. What is his idea? Rook g1, g5, attacking the poor king on g8. What do you do when you attack g4, g5 on the flank? You react in the center. And Nepomniachtchi play d5. g5 take, the queen is attacked, queen d6. By the way, if the queen goes here, rook g1 here, and on this move, knight h4, attack the queen, and then you're gonna have a strong attack here. So, queen d6. Now, what is our idea? Rook g1 here. Very nice. We're lining up the rook on the open g5. Knight e7 played. You can see that black is defending. On this move here, amazingly, knight d2 is very strong. Because if you were to take here, what's happening? Boom! How do you do that? And you have to defend c5, and this is so winning for white. So, over here, knight e7 played, knight d2 play, so that we can recapture on e4 with our knight, knight g6 logical, queen f3. So you can see Danya, he played knight d2, rook g1, bishop g5. He wants to castle long and attack. c6, h4, trying to play h5. a5, he gets critical. Take, h5 here. The knight has not too many good squares, right? So e4 played, we retreat, and now what? The knight is attacked, and there's not a lot of good places, and knight h8 is what Nepomniachtchi has to play. We play d4, bishop b6. And in this position, white to play. Naroditsky was inspired in this game. If I were to play with white here, I would look at h6. I'm trying to open. Black will close that. And I will push h7 with a nice sack. Let's say I give a check. Rook h1. The king has to go here. I'm going to try to go chase the king. It's going to be an intense game. But no. In this position, Danya play knight c4. Amazing, and black has to take the knight, otherwise the knight's gonna come to e5. So that's a sack. And here, bishop f4. Brilliant move. Why? Of course, you cannot take here because you're attacking with checkmate on g7. Queen f6 played. Bishop e5. Queen e7. And now we're down a piece. But how does Danya Naroditsky wrap up this game? White to play and win. Feel free to pause the video. Alright, and the flourish, the cherry on the cake, move 23. Queen g6, brilliant move. Only move, you have to take the queen. The king has to go to h6. If he goes to h8, of course, rook h1 is checkmate. So king h6. And now what? Bishop f4 check. And here, of course, you have to put the queen, because if you go here, I have bishop e2 check. And on king h4, I'm finishing with rook h1. And it is checkmate. So queen g5 played, the game finished like that. Bishop c7, check. And on this move, Danya won by rook f8, threatening bishop e6, winning materials. There's nothing that black can do, and black resign. Just let you know, on here, you could also play like that, and here, win brilliantly like that. You're threatening rook g1 checkmate. This is also winning. So here, everything moves. Rook g5 wins. Bishop g5 wins as well. So amazing, amazing game played, and that was something that g4, remember this idea, we haven't castled, and we're going from g4, g5. Let's see the next game. So for the game number 2, the opponent is not that strong, and I'm gonna go quickly. Naroditsky is facing the move knight takes e4. So how does that work over here? We go 95 our move, bishop c5, just like in game 1, c3 the best move, and here black decides to take. What do we do? Of course, black is threatening to come here. We play d4, take, and this is all prep, bishop g3, attacking the knight on e4, preparing castle. Knight f6, queen e2 check. And now what? If you don't play king f8 playing the game, and you decide to play bishop e7, what do? You castle. And here, if black were to do king castle, you are checkmating very quickly. So over here, great position. You're gonna play potentially bishop h6. Black is underdeveloped. So of course, in this position, black has to play king f8. We take, and we simply castle. We don't care about the pawns. d6 developing, we attack the queen. We don't exchange the queen, queen c2. Black takes. Do we take back? No, we play for the activity. Rook f1, attack the queen, queen d5, and now only we take. So here black is in a pickle. We have a lot of attack here, and it's hard to develop. Black try to exchange pieces, fine. Rook ad1, threatening all sorts of attack. Bishop e6, bishop e4, queen a2. What do? Queen g3. And what is Danya's idea? Well, let's say I play a random move. We come here and we checkmate the king on the back rank. So f6 played. Black is trying to defend. Queen f3. We threaten to take here. King f7. And now white to play and win. And here Danya plays rook d7 check. If you don't take the rook come here. It's gonna be a crushing victory. So black takes, check, skewer, and we win the queen and the game. Let's see how the game unfolds. And over here, bishop f6. This is very important because if you were to play take, you have background checkmate. Bishop f6, and here black cannot take because simply would play queen c5, check, and we're gonna do a luft and win queen versus rook and bishop. So over here, black tried that, and this was winning like that. Queen f6, checkmate. So we've seen that on knight e4, g4, followed by queen e2, and when the king is here, you have a lot of play for giving up the pawns, right? You're here, you don't care about the pawns, you're developing bishop g5, rook e1, rook ad1, so easy, and black has to deal with all of these pieces, right? It makes sense, right? Now, let's see the final game in this video. And now we're back into our variations. What if black take the pawns right away? Let's go see that. Black is Tani. I am from New York with a youngster who is trying to beat Danya with black. So here, instead of playing bishop c5, which is definitely the best move according to the computer, what if black takes the pawn, right? So what do we do here? We play d4, opening up all the lines. Black has to take. We play bishop d3, knight c5, and here we do check again, right? In this case, bishop e7 is kind of the only move, and we go bishop g5. We go full force here, trying to win. Of course, black cannot castle. We would simply win like that, right? So over here, black would try to play f6, then we would do bishop f4, threatening over here, and on d6 you could play bishop c4 followed by long castle with a lot of play for white. So over here Tani decided to play knight e6, blocking the e5, right? That's a very logical and human move. White play h4, Danya, typical side, and on h6 Danya says, you know what, I'm here to win, and he goes long castle. See, the plan is very easy. Develop your pieces and go for checkmate. Tani takes the piece. All right. And now what? We're threatening rook ha, checkmate. Tani takes and blocks with bishop h6. So now, very important, what do you play next? You are, after all, down a piece. And if you remember game 1, this is pretty easy. How to generate counterplay with white? You play g4. Very simple idea. I want to play g5 and win the rook like that. So king f8 played. We push. We take. Of course here, taking with the bishop will lose. So black calculated queen g5. All right. Are we lost with white? Not so much. Knight c7. And now, if the rook were to take, how do we finish it off? Well, you guessed it. The king here is in trouble, and we checkmate in one move. So since we cannot save the rook, queen e5 was played. We take the rook. And here, this endgame was easily won by white. I go pretty quickly. This is the technical part. We are up an exchange and all the pawn will drop. So here we're exchanging a piece. Now we're exchanging everything and we go after the pawns. Rook e6. We grab a pawn. Black try to defend. And here simply after rook d7, black resign. Why? Because the only way to save is to play that. And you can simply take. And this is very easy. You're going to win here, the pawn, push that, and then win these pawns. So this is easily one endgame. So in this position, black resign. So once again, this is wrapping up this opening survey, and here the key move is d4. And once again, we play queen e2 with the idea bishop g5, long castle, and a lot of attack. This is a fantastic opening repertoire for white. And instead of going with the d4 line and learning theory, surprise your opening with knight d5. I see you in the next one.